Welcome back to the Swodcast. That's what Sui said. I'm your host, Mahik, and in today's episode, we're diving into transitioning into Berkeley as a freshman. So, we understand that being a new admit can be overwhelming and transition can be a little difficult. That's why we have two current Berkeley students who have been through that experience and who are willing to share their experience. So, without further ado, can you guys introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello. My name is Kuratulain Sanjida. I go by Sanjida, and I'm an international student from Bangladesh. Here, I'm studying electrical engineering and computer science. I'm in my sophomore year, which is second year. Yeah. You wanna go?
Hello everyone, my name is Kenza. First of all, congrats if you're admitting to Berkeley. It's a huge achievement. I'm also an international student from Morocco, and I'm a freshman in computer science and intended business. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. So, well, we're gonna first break this segment into three different parts. So, like, the first part would be preparing for college. The second part would be adapting to college life, and lastly, it would be finding your support systems and resources. So, let's dive into our first segment. So, how did you guys prepare for college life? What actions did you guys take? If you can like shed light into that.
Yeah, for me, it was a little bit random. I did not really know that I was going to come to the US, but definitely I applied because I was super interested in it, and then my parents suggested that like apply to the top schools, and I ended up applying to a very few colleges, and alhamdulillah, I mean, I'm here at Berkeley, and yeah, it's definitely challenging to just know about the application process, especially as international students. I think there's like a lot of procedures and everything that you have to go through, which are not very available in a lot of countries, I think. So coming from Bangladesh, I think I did not get a lot of support and help in the application process, but I definitely did a lot of research on my own, and that helped. I think the resource college as a guy was really good for me.
I use that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you wanna like explain what the Ask the Guide is?
Oh, the college essay guide.
Oh, essay guide.
Yeah. College essay guide, which is
Oh, okay.
yeah.
It's like a website.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah, it is a website. So there's a person who like helps you with the writing essays and everything, formatting everything. I think it's really good to like start on your research, and they give you like a very good guideline from the start to the finish line. I think that really helped me.
Okay, so preparing for college, first of all, senior year was like a roller coaster. I applied to like 7 countries. So also when I got all the decisions in, just making a choice was really like nothing was certain. Like even though I committed to Berkeley, I wasn't sure I was gonna come. And obviously like when you're deciding where you're gonna go to college and hopefully where you're gonna start your career, and it's like you're deciding between different continents, it's a lot of pressure for like a 17-year-old. And also with all the bureaucracy for like the visa, like moving continents. Like we moved so far.
Yeah.
But also even if you're like from California or you're in state, I think
Yeah.
any type of move is very taxing, like mentally and physically, because you're still like obviously in school in senior year, but then you have to visualize like how your life is going to be. And I think also what's important to like be mindful of is you can prepare as much as you want. You're never gonna truly know what to expect. Like there's always going to be unexpected. There's always going to be like changes you didn't prepare for, and I think you have to like be okay with that beforehand and like not be shocked by those changes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but what I personally did was I tried to like contact anyone I knew in the US, and then just see like how life was. Also compare like every college you're into and what you vibe with the most. I think like it obviously like vibe is not like a good word, but yeah. And then yeah, I think academically it's the best program I got into, and I really like CS, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a leap of faith. I'm gonna move 6,000 miles and just see what happens. Like it's not that deep. I could always like move back. So yeah, I think College Jessica was also really good for applications. It basically how it helped me is it had a lot of like example essays I got in, and seeing successful essays, and then those people like how they like manufacture their application. It really helps like seeing also what the student profile is at Berkeley. and that was obviously really helpful. And then to move, visa was a whole other story. I got rejected the first time,
Oh my god.
and that was like a week before my flight, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. But I reapplied. It was like a whole like thing. But yeah, moved here. First week was like so shocking. Like everything was. I also did CS Kickstart, and that was a huge help. It was like, I think 2 weeks before GBO. GBO is also really good. GBO is amazing. I'm actually gonna be an orientation leader next year, so hopefully I see like
Yeah,
some of you
GBO
guys.
is Golden Bear
Yeah,
Orientation.
Golden Bear orientation. Huge opportunity to make friends, to get familiar with campus, locate your classes beforehand. I think that was really important. I also watched a lot of like YouTube videos about like how to make friends in college, how to get along with your like roommates.
I actually before coming to Berkeley on Reddit I was like looking how do you prepare.
Yeah.
Like, I know they would say courses are challenging, so people like start studying over the summer. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Some people like first lecture they're like, oh, I know all this. Like, why are you paying tuition then? Like, no. Yeah, but I think just mentally opening yourself up to making new friends, moving, detaching yourself from home a bit. You don't want to be like that person that goes home like every weekend. Like, you wanna, the first few weeks of school, everyone's open to making friends, so you have to take advantage of like that part and then just make the most of it. And it's never that deep. Like, what to keep in mind is like anything that happens, it's just like just move on.
It's
okay.
for you to
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah, just gonna add something. Don't still like feel the pressure to make friends in the first year even, because it's like at Berkeley it's a huge school and there will be so many people and it's like you're gonna meet people every day, and don't be worried that the first 7 days is the main time you have to make friends. Not everyone's gonna make friends, and that's okay. And it can be like your final year you might make the best friends of your life, so it's totally fine. Don't get overwhelmed by that.
That's true. I'm like in my last year and I'm like now finding like so many amazing people with so many different experiences, so there's always room to learn, so it's not. One thing you guys mentioned was GBO. So for our audience, can you explain like how was GBO? Was it helpful for you guys?
Yeah, of course. For me personally, GBO is like I'm like very involved with GBO right now. I was an orientation leader my freshman year, and then next year like now I'm an orientation mentor with GBO. And currently like a lot of new orientation leaders like Kansa is coming in, so I'll be like monitoring them and like leading them to like learn about the process and everything. So I would say that GBO is a very diverse place, and the thing about GBO is that you get to meet people from so many diverse backgrounds, and like you said, it's a like huge opportunity to find your own group maybe. But that's not necessarily, again, to emphasize, it's not the like final destination that you have to make friends in GBO. It's not. I would say GBO is also fun because it makes you like experience a lot about Berkeley. So when you first come in, you basically know nothing, and you want to see like get a tour of Berkeley, right? And GBO gives you that tour. And as orientation leaders, the orientation leaders are gonna like lead you through different parts of the campus, let you know about the like whole campus, the school, like College of Engineering, College of Letters and Sciences, everything. They're gonna show you part by part. And again, you get to go on tours, like visit the Oakland Museum maybe, or maybe the Oakland A's game. And so they're like really cool things. Also the Berkeley Marina, which is my favorite, where you can go kayaking and everything. And so GBO is definitely a great place to get exposure and help with the transition, and you will find a lot of like-minded people in that place, so definitely that's a good tool to use.
I can also like jump in because GBO was like a few months ago. Not last semester, but
last semester.
It's smaller. What's nice about it is obviously you're with all the incoming freshmen, but you're in a smaller group. And how it was for my group, I don't know if it's for all GBO groups. It's like with people from your floor or people in your same building, and then you have like social activities and like team building activities with them for like 4 days. And then I also want to say that it's also a great opportunity to just like meet people, obviously, but you can like either you get along with them or you don't, but just knowing as much people as you can before classes, like not even being friends, just knowing about them, so you have someone to say hi to when you're walking on campus. Even that, just mentally, it like calms you down for when you begin classes. And I also would say to not be scared to like invite people to go like hang outside of like this institutionalized like hangouts like with GBO. So yeah, I think it's a great way to meet people. Also interact with other GBO groups. You don't have to stay with your own group. It's fine also if you don't. I know a lot of people that like did not like their GBO group at all. Some people didn't even go to their like orientation things. But yeah, it's an opportunity like every other one, and you can either use it or not. Yeah, in both ways, you'll end up fine.
I'd expand on something you said, like mentioned before, about when you come to Berkeley, you might not really know a lot of people, and that kind of like feel like a pressure, like, oh, I'm going to this new school, but I don't know anybody, and that happened to me as well. But somehow, like, I found out, I did some research online and like looked at different Facebook accounts, and I found out that one of the people from my school, like where I went to, it was a military school, honestly. So I found out that one of the person's senior sister, she goes to Berkeley as well. And then I personally reached out through Facebook. And one thing to like remember, people here are like really helpful. So if you ever need help, if you want to reach out to any of the UC Berkeley students, I can't guarantee everyone will respond, but most of us are like willing to help. And if you reach out, like through Instagram or Facebook, whichever you prefer. We use the Berkeley emails with the .edu extensions. So that sounds more formal, honestly. So if you reach out, that helps you like build a connection and kind of like gives you a sense of security that you're coming to a place which you're not completely unexposed to. And another thing for me is that I tried reaching out as much as I could. I found connections, even like people in my country who were coming that year, and then maybe people who came here in the past, and then reaching out to them. Even if you can't, remember there's always Sweet if you're watching this video. So we are always here to help you. Feel free to reach out to us. Yeah.
So I think to wrap up, go to GBO if you can. It's a great way to network with new admins. And then also, like we mentioned, this video will be on YouTube. So if you're researching, and it might be helpful to watch this video to the fullest. So let's transition into like adapting to college life. I think the biggest one, I want to first focus on like what was like the biggest cultural shock, and then we can dive more into like the academics and then adapting to life. Colin, you can go first.
Okay, so obviously like as an international student, just speaking English every day, the whole day. I thought I was fine with it. Like obviously like I'm comfortable now, but that I was not prepared, because like even mentally, like when you're not speaking your native tongue like for so long, like I forget that I speak French with my parents, like it's bad.
So
like and then just the whole transition, you're not gonna be prepared for that. But then if you're like an American, you're fine. Like it's just also that also plays into like the people you interact with. No one you see at home is gonna be at Berkeley. They're always gonna be like either on your phone. There's either gonna be like a long like time difference, even if like it's East Coast or whatever. It's just everything changes. Like nothing is the same except for yourself, and even then you can change the way you want to be perceived so much like the first few weeks. So I think just keeping that in mind, being prepared to know that like your friends are going to change, your environment's going to change, the way you interact with people is going to change, like because everyone's so different. It lets a lot of like, obviously there's a lot of interesting conversations, you meet so many people, which is amazing, but it can be very overwhelming like very fast. So just knowing when to take time for yourself, knowing when to like center your like mental state, and then knowing when to call friends from home. Like obviously don't like some people are like attached to home for so long, and then they become so homesick because they stay there mentally. So I think it's important to detach yourself first. Know when to contact like your home friends, your old support systems, your parents, but don't be like 24/7 back home. I would say like that's something I tried to not struggle with, and I think that allowed me to have like a successful freshman year. Like yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, I think that's very important to make sure you're adjusting to a new scenario, and it's very different from home, and that's how it's supposed to be. It's college. So I think just a very significant way to deal with this is having a support system. It's really important. So I would say, like, if you're attached to your family, it's not bad. It's really good that you have so many, like, such a good connection with your family if you are attached. In that case, I would suggest, like, have a time, like, you're gonna call your parents. That time you're gonna dedicate to, treating yourself better. And it's very necessary because Berkeley is a fast-paced and very challenging environment. But still, it's like not all bad. So remembering that you need to take time for yourself, and in that time, do what makes you happy genuinely and invest in yourself. So if it's like working on a project that you really enjoy, that could be something very like self-care, right? And also like talking to people helps. I think a lot of one of the very difficult problems international students specifically deal with, because I did when I came in, I was like very extroverted. I was like gonna meet everyone. Okay, I can deal with any problems. I am like super extroverted. And then by the time like mid semester of like freshman year, the first fall semester, I was so drained and I did not have the energy to like go out anymore. I did not want to meet people. I don't know just what happened. I do not know, but it was a certain change. I could see that there was a cultural shock. I could see like, oh, I'm not enjoying it as much as I wanted to. So in that case, what happens is that a lot of people stop going outside and stop meeting people, stop talking to people, and that is a very downside. It can be dark and it might lead you to like personal anxiety and sometimes depression. So it's very necessary to like make sure you go outside and get air, get light. And I think in that case, what might help is to reach out. I know it's hard for some people, a lot of people. I mean, if it was for me, um, it's just making sure that you're getting what you need, and maybe like talking to people about what problems you're facing. Even like freshman students who are living in the dorms with you, if you're living in the dorms, just go and talk to them. They might be very friendly. If you interact, that's like the way to explore. If you keep it to yourself, it's gonna kill you. So that's how it
So
works.
would you say like what worked for you?
Yeah, so I think my freshman year, a little bit of downtime like happened because I like in the beginning I mentioned it was like ups and downs, you know. So I think what helped me after that to like come out of that thing, like I was definitely going into a little bit of sad time. I did not like I don't know, I didn't enjoy Berkeley as much a little bit, and then I was like, yeah, I'm privileged to be here, but I do not want to go to classes. So things like that. And then I think I talked to my parents a lot, and I made sure I have a good time when I talk to them, and I made sure to like dedicate that time for that. And also getting work done can be something that makes you feel a lot overwhelmed sometimes. I feel like to manage your time is very important at Berkeley, and time management can be very difficult to deal with, but there are so many resources to help you. And one of the good resources would be like reaching out to the Berkeley, yeah, wait, I'm like struggling to remember. I think it's called Berkeley Care, not Care Center. I'm sorry. It's there's a Path to Care Center. There's a CAPS counseling services, and the CAPS is the counseling services where you need any mental health resources or any support in that regard, or just want to talk to someone. It's a very helpful tool.
Yeah, we can link the resources below.
Yeah, that's very like, I mean, a lot of people just feel like, oh, counseling, I don't know about that. But it's a really supportive resource, because if you're going through a tough time and you're gonna talk to anybody, you just talk to someone who's a professional, and they're gonna keep your information confidential, and it just makes you feel better. I think. Yeah.
So I guess one of the things that really resonates is like when it's a lot, right, to take in, but having that openness,
Yeah.
to like meet new people, it can help you keep going. Oh, I'm not alone, right? There's other people in the same boat, so we're all here together. So I think also one thing you mentioned, like contacting family, like my mom and I, we literally have like a set time, like when she gets off of work at like 2 p.m. we're like talking. So every day I'll have a phone call from her. So having that time, like managing your time, figuring out like how can I connect with my loved ones, and just going from there. So I guess now we can like talk more about like academics. We have CS majors, so I guess we can talk about like what was like the biggest challenge academically. How is high school different from college, right? And then talking about maybe your major as well.
You can
Okay,
talk about
I can
it
start.
first.
So I'm in my second semester right now. First semester went relatively well, and then also I would say take a lighter course load for your first semester because you're still like transitioning. So I think having, obviously don't take like one class, but just go easier on yourself, and also research your classes beforehand. And once you get the classes you want, also if you don't get the classes you want, because I know freshmen have like later enrollment, it's fine. It's your first semester, like you have like so many more. Okay, so once your first week of classes, make sure you read all the syllabuses, make sure you understand what your class entails, the work it entails on like the Berkeley academic guide. When it says like 7 hours a week, that'll be fine. No, it's actually 7 hours or more. So like keep that in mind, they're not lying. It's like research, like students input the amount of hours they put into the class. So I'd say plan out when you want to do homework. Schedule all your midterms, all your finals. You don't want conflicting like dates. Make sure you have a schedule that works for you. I took an 8 a.m. and a 9 a.m. and that was, it's not that bad. I think 8 a.m.s get such a bad rep, but it wasn't that bad. It's just, it gets bad when you have like a quiz at 8 a.m. and then you're like at 4 and then like, oh, maybe I'm not gonna sleep, but that's bad. But yeah, I think just if you most web like big freshman like classes have like websites, so you can obviously don't take the class in summer, like don't read, like do all the lectures beforehand, but just sifting through it, seeing like the requirements you need to fulfill, if the knowledge is similar to if you've seen it before. Like I know a lot of people in Math 1A or Math 1B have seen a lot of the content before but still have to like retake it. Just doing that, and then once you're on campus, just the few weeks, the first few weeks, just see how you can like see how your workflow works with your classes. Keep in mind that you can always switch classes if it's too hard. You can add some if you feel like you can, like academically. You can remove one if you're taking too much. Like you still have that leeway the first few weeks. And then I would say study early for midterms. Don't leave things to the last minute. Study early for finals. Find study groups if you can, but I personally don't have any institutionalized like study groups. But yeah, just find your note-taking style too for each class. I know some people like an iPad, some people like handwritten, some people just like going to lecture and sitting there and then watching it again. Oh, also note which classes have like recorded lectures and like not recorded lectures, because that's very helpful, because then you know that if you're in class you can just like pay attention and then rewatch it after. But yeah, I think all of that, and honestly whatever worked for you in high school, you can just transition that into college and you'll probably be fine. It's just the difficulty is obviously higher. It's bigger classes, so there's less help. You have to like go ask for it. No one's gonna go ask you if you need help.
I also think if like whatever worked for high school doesn't work in college. I also think like for me, my first semester, like there were some things that didn't work out. Like for example, I read somewhere like if you just sit in lecture and then not take notes, like some people prefer like not taking notes. That didn't really work for me. Like I had to like listen and then I like note down what the professors. So my point is like sometimes like the first semester can be like a warm up just to figure out what works for you because you have like how many more semesters left, right? After your first semester. So it's totally okay to have like a trial run to figure out what works best for you. And so if Sanjita, you want to like talk about your experience?
To talk about my experience with Berkeley academics, I would say first of all, it is very different from high school, and like I did not go to an English medium school, so like Kansas said, like always talking in English is a very different thing than just imagining, oh, I can talk in English fluently all the time, because I used to be able to, and I knew I was gonna be fine. But it's very different, like when your instruction, when your teachers talk the whole lecture, and you have to process all those just in not in your like native language. It can be very difficult to deal with, but it definitely gets easier over time. So that's something I won't say you should be too much afraid about, because everyone gets adjusted within like, I don't know, a month or two probably. But it is a little bit different, I'm not gonna lie. And I think taking notes is definitely very helpful, and a lot of people have different note taking styles. I am like a very old school, like I write on notebooks, and I hope I'll get a iPad someday and then start kind of like shifting. But right now I'm still doing notebooks, and it's helpful just to like look back and like see your work. It kind of like brings you that sense that, oh, I have done this and I can do this later, and not be very scared before midterm. And there's a very cool thing about Berkeley. A lot of the classes lets you take cheat sheets with you. So if you like kind of write down whatever you need for the classes and everything, so if you write down in a piece of paper, it kind of gives you a help. So like if you look at the formulas before you do the math, it kind of helps you and supports you during exams, or just even writing the process of cheat sheet is very good. I think it's like a whole summary of the whole like midterm or exam just before taking it. And personally, I would say the CS classes that we take at Berkeley, CS is computer science. CS classes are not the easiest. They can be very challenging, and especially if you come in with less programming experience, it can be a lot. And I would suggest you know, just before coming to Berkeley, even if it's too much to ask, I know you're spending probably the last few days before moving to college, I would still suggest, if you're going to CS or like challenging courses like this, just taking a look at the course content before you come in. That might like give you I don't know, an edge before you have to face the difficulty yourself. So I think what I did was like CS61A is a very challenging course for a beginner. It's not very beginner friendly. So what you could do, if you want to take that course first, you can like look at the lectures a little bit when you're preparing like to come to the US, or like just to come to college. That time can be very helpful. Or you can do like a little bit of programming just to like get exposure, what like variables mean, what functions mean, to just like knowing that would give you like a feeling that, okay, I'm not gonna like get destroyed or anything. And I think there's another course called CS10, because I personally took it. I'm like just talking about it. CS10 is a more introductory level class, which is like before 61A, and it gives you like much I don't know, less pressure to deal with if you want to start off a little bit softer on this side. And there are other resources that can help you if you're struggling with like your academic like classes or everything. So there's office hours. Office hours is basically the time which is like very dedicated for students to get help with their projects or homeworks or whatever they're struggling with. So office hours is like a space when there is a specific time, there would be tutors, there would be TAs, and they will be just helping you out. And there might be like a queue, you need to join the queue, and then they're gonna like suggest solutions to your problems. And So it's like a very important resource. A lot of people don't enjoy office hours, I think. If you want to expand on that later.
Yeah.
But I think personally I found office hours very helpful. Other than office hours, if you like more like intimate study spaces, there is a CAEE, which is Center for Academic, Academic Excellence in Engineering. So they have a really dedicated space for student support. So if you are stuck with any project or if you need help with any concept, you can go and a fellow student or maybe a student who has taken that class before will help you out with the concepts, understandings, and like progress with the project overall. And that's a very helpful resource. There's also CS Mentors, which I really love, and CS Mentors gives you like a student run small, maybe 1 unit pass no pass classes, and they like let you go over the concepts, and it's like not as like frustrating because it will be a very small group, like 5 or 6 people, and then you go over specific contents of the course, and it's like you can ask questions directly to someone who is pretty good at that topic maybe. So I think yes, this mentors is a very good resource to use as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a lot.
yeah, so there's a lot of resources available for CS majors.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do a podcast with other majors.
Yeah.
But for CS, EECS, there's CSM, HKN, and then of course office hours.
Yeah.
I think one question like I have, like maybe you guys can like touch on, like what would you say to someone who's like a little overwhelmed, a little shy maybe, to go to office hours, because it can be a little overwhelming. Like, so what kind of like tips do you have for someone? If you can please share.
Yeah, I think obviously if it fits into your schedule it.
Sorry.
And then I just would say.
Wait, what's this?
Sorry.
Okay, we're good now. We're good.
Okay, maybe like start over.
No, it's okay. It's all good. Just continue.
Yeah. So obviously it can be very hard for some people, but just if you have a friend that's also in your class, obviously go together. I think that's better because then you're not like alone. It's like you versus the office hours room.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just asking people that went before, if you're that scared, you can ask like how it goes. Like different classes have different OH like systems. Some of them you just show up. Some of them you have to like sign up online. Some of them have it like virtually, so that's maybe easier.
Yeah.
Just knowing the setup that it is, and then just adapting that to your like personality, and then just planning it. And it's not scary. Like they're paid to help you. Like you're supposed to ask for help. Yeah, and just keeping that in mind. Like it's just
Yeah.
Take the bus if it's far. I don't know.
Yeah, just to add, I mentioned some of the resources to use if you don't like office hours. For example, CAE, they have like student run support. So if you are scared to talk to a TA, you can talk to someone who's like maybe just 1 year above you, or probably like has taken the same class as you maybe last semester. So they will be there to support you and guide through like any problems that you're facing. So it's a really nice resource if you're shy to go to office hours or you don't just enjoy the workspace. And there's also CS Mentors, like I mentioned. It's a small study group, so it kind of is like focused and like focused on you. So it gives you more space to just not be scared and ask questions. There is also CS Scholars, which is a very dedicated CS development organization, I would say, and they help you with learning the concepts and going deeply over very hard topics that like probably classes don't discuss. So maybe something you missed in lecture, you can learn it from CS Scholars. And they have a lot of resources up online. So if you like look it up and then like probably search CS Scholars and then the course content that you're looking for, maybe you'll get some worksheets so that you are like struggling in your class and you can just look it up. And I would suggest studying with other people. Having a study buddy is very helpful. Studying with other people kind of like changed my life. I would say like I said mentioned before, I was having a tough time when I was trying to like deal with a lot of things myself in my freshman year, and then now I think I have a more stable relationship with my academics because I'm studying with other people. And when I have someone just like sitting beside me and talking to me when I'm like facing a problem, like, oh hey, did you do this part, and like yeah, so that communication gives you a like better relationship with studying, and not make it hard, and makes it enjoyable overall. Yeah, and also just about academics, I would say finding the place to study might be important. Like right now, we're at Moffitt, one of the most beautiful libraries at Berkeley, and it's very noisy, and a lot of people study here.
Yeah.
But there are two floors, like two
That's
types
cool.
of floors.
Yeah.
There's noisy floor, and there's like what's it called?
Quiet.
Floor. Yeah. So it's a very interesting building to visit, and also cool fun fact about this building is that the office, like the fourth or fifth floor, was built by the same people who built Facebook. So yeah, I remember because I visited Meta like last you went to, right? Yeah, doing CS Kickstart, and we saw like this little like office like rooms. These rooms were like also in Meta, and they had like really fun names for all of the rooms. So that was something really interesting. So if you want to study here, or if you want to go, there's a very quieter look library called Doe Library. It seems very nice because it looks like a castle from the outside. And there are a lot of libraries on campus. I think there are almost like 20 plus libraries. I don't know the exact number, although I should. But yeah, so there's so many opportunities to just like finding these libraries, or maybe some people love to study in the glade, like in the sun. I saw some people like
I like to do that too.
get work done in the field, lying down in the grass. It's chilling. It's pretty nice, and you can always like have a little picnic if you want to like have a study picnic or something like that.
Yeah, I think. Oh, did you want?
Yeah, I just also wanted to add like a more like campus-wide like tutoring thing. The Student Learning Center has a lot of help for like general math classes, like reading classes, and I think physics. Like if you're non-CS, like the SLC is really like helpful, and it's also just it's like the layout's just like a big table or like big tables for each like big class, and then there's just people there sitting waiting to like help anyone. And I also wanted to add one thing about academics. Not everyone comes into Berkeley with the same academic rigor background. So some people are gonna find it way easier than you or way harder, because we're all from different high schools. I know some of like the Bay Area high schools had like very academically rigorous programs, so they're more prepared for the rigor here, and some like more like academically disprivileged schools have way less resources, and those students like struggle more. So I think just comparing yourself is not going to work, because literally you've been in a different school than these people for the past like 18 years. You're not going to come into college with the same knowledge. So it's important to keep that in mind. If you're doing like worse than the average, it's not your fault, it's literally just circumstances. So I would say like just not to compare, because everyone's from a very, very different background, and the people that are from like the Bay Area and very competitive high schools usually have like an easier time. So I think I was not prepared for that at all. I was like, why is this guy like not studying at all? Like, hello. But
yeah, just like personal experience. I think I once I let go, because it's very easy to compare, like when the histogram comes up and then you try to find where you're on, right? I think once I let go of comparing, I found myself like trying to figure out how I can grow personally, because there's a lot of growth when you just let go. You're comparing your own growth with yourself, right? And so once I let go, I'm like, oh, today I can learn how to do, I don't know, like for probability, some class, I'm like practicing problems, or like for CS, trying to just do some programming challenges, right? Personally, and when I see that growth, I'm like, oh, I made this jump, right? Like you're just beating your next benchmark, right? Like you're just growing. And I think one like beauty of that is like you're you're gonna like I don't know, like you're attaining like obtaining a gemstone, or like
Yeah.
it's your skill that
Yeah.
you have possess now.
No,
Like no one's
definitely
gonna
agree
steal.
about
Yeah.
that.
So I guess one of like a takeaway from this conversation is like it's of course going to be challenging, but there's always room for improvement. And how can you find those resources? It's like building those study groups. There's office hours. There's HKN for CS. There's CSM, and then there's also CSE you mentioned, right?
Yeah, CAE.
CAE. So we'll provide those links below, but I think study groups would be like a big one as well,
Yeah.
right? And then just to wrap up this conversation about academics, how do you go about like finding the classes for your schedule? So how do you schedule your classes?
Yeah, so talking about class scheduling and enrollment, it's a very like frustrating time, I would say, because sometimes you really want to take a class and you can't just because, and it's a lot harder than it sometimes like seems. I would say to be aware of the fact that there's a enrollment time, and at that time like everyone kind of like starts doing the enrollment thing, so it's good to be prepared before you even enroll. There's this class enrollment button in your Cal Central that you can click and see all of the classes that are available this semester, all the classes that like have, like Kansa mentioned before, sometimes classes have like a lot of workload and you didn't foresee that. Sometimes you might run into like course conflicts and you might not be able to manage your time well. So I think it's really important that you have a very planned schedule, and a good resource for that is talking to your advisor. Your advisor is the best at suggesting which classes would be appropriate for you and which level of like I don't know, maybe how much you have had experience before and how much you need to like, where do you need to start from. So that would be a good place to start if you talk to your advisor. And sometimes people don't utilize talking to their advisors as much. But it's also like take it with a grain of salt. Sometimes it might be personal to you how you want to explore Berkeley. For example, someone thinks you might not be in that same level as them, but you know where your competency is, and to base everything based on that. And but also make sure to be kind to yourself. Don't take too many classes, because I did that. I took 20 units one semester and I was like super frustrated by the end. It's not recommended. Take less classes, enjoy them, and like actually learn. That helps. And also for the enrollment process, there is a class schedule which also has detailed explanations of every classes, the prereqs and everything. The prerequisites like tell you which classes you might need to take before the other. So 61C requires taking 61B, 61A beforehand. So that's called prereqs. And so navigating those will be helpful if you just reach out to I think they also mentioned where to reach out in Cal Central or like similar resources you can use, and they tell you how to navigate Canvas, because that's a very like everyday tool. We call it B courses, and it's like learning to use that might be helpful for to navigate your classes. Also look at the syllabus. Syllabus like gives you an idea of how the class is going to be, and not knowing can be detrimental at the end. So yeah, that's like all I have to say about classes and enrollment.
Did you want to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to add quickly, if you're dead set on your major, one, it's normal to change majors, like everyone changes majors, like, or it's normal to not know what you want to do at 17, like. But anyways, for classes, I would say plan out, like have a place. I personally have like an Excel sheet with all the requirements, like the lower div requirements, upper div requirements, the breadth requirements for each college has like general ed like requirements. So just have those all set, and then try to have a 4-year plan or a 3-year plan, like however long you want to like stay here, and try to like put everything in the schedule to see like your whole college career laid out. And then obviously there's wait lists, there's classes you're not gonna get, but know what classes you want to take for each semester and what requirement that fulfills, because you don't want to find yourself like 3 years in wanting to take like one class to graduate, but then you realize that you have to take that requirement for this requirement. You want to have them all in one place and know like what requirements you have to fulfill and what classes fulfill those, and then just going into each semester, like knocking out like 2-3 requirements a semester. Obviously, you can also take classes like for fun, but just know what classes, what they're fulfilling. Yeah, and then just planning that accordingly. Yeah.
So I think just to add on, what worked for me was talking to other students who've been through that same route, because they are like a senior, right? Like for example, I think when I was a junior, I talked to like a senior like what courses like to take for my major, right? And then they would say, oh, maybe you don't want to take 3 texts in one semester, right? Or maybe not take one a rigorous course during the summer. So talking to someone who's older than you, who's been through it, the process, can be helpful, because then you can like pinpoint how you can manage your time and courses. So talking to an advisor, going on the Cal Central scheduling, as Kenza said, and then talking to someone who's older, as a student, who's been through that process.
Yeah.
So to wrap up this episode, in like 30 seconds, what advice would you give to like a new freshman, new admin?
Just be open-minded. Berkeley is a huge place and there's so much to explore. Come with a fresh perspective and learn to accept everyone, be kind to everyone, be kind to yourself.
And I would say, don't expect it to be easy. It's not meant to be. Find yourself first, find your friends, find your support system, and then just at the end of the day, like have fun. Like you're here to college.
College only happens once.
Yeah.
Yay. Well, thank you so much for being in today's episode. I hope you audience, all of you guys, enjoyed the episode, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Stay tuned to the next Swodcast.
Bye.